Hi, I'm Becky Waller and I'm a registered dietitian. And I'm going to talk to you today about foods that heal. What we're looking at in this current environment is finding the foods that can keep our immune system strong so that we can fight off different things occurring in our environment. Whether it's the common cold or the flu, or concerns now with the coronavirus and a lot of people catching that, what can we do to make our immune system stronger so that we're less likely to get sick? Now, it's not to say that there's any one food, vitamin, or mineral that you can take that's going to keep you 100% healthy, but we do know from research and studies that people who have a better balance of vitamins and minerals are less likely to get sick. Now, looking back way to 460 BC, Hippocrates, who was a Greek physician, had said at that time, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." He understood the importance of having a plant-based diet and keeping a lot of herbs and spices in his diet and to the diets of his patients. He saw the positive effect on himself and his patients when they were eating well. Fast forward to 2020 and look at what our grocery store looks like. We have far less plant-based foods, and we're missing out on a lot of nutrients. There's so many other things that can cause damage. One of the main concerns and things that I'm going to talk about today is free radicals. These are a natural occurring process in our body that happens every day. It happens when you eat and you're having digestion. It can happen from exposure to sunlight. Even air pollution and pesticides increase your risk of having free radical damage. The reason this is a problem is that free radicals are unstable molecules in our body. They are searching to get stable again, and they end up having an unpaired electron, and they're looking for other molecules to steal one from. Over time, if the free radical isn't made stable, you have a condition called oxidative stress. Oxidative stress has been linked to conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia, cardiovascular disease in terms of our arteries being clogged, even diabetes, certain types of cancer, and inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. We want to decrease the amount of free radicals in our body. Our body was actually designed making antioxidants so that it could fight this, but it produces an insufficient amount to neutralize all the free radicals. And there is not one vitamin or mineral that can stop all of the oxidative damage that occurs. So you have to make sure you're getting a variety. We're going to focus on different foods that will give us a variety of those. Now, as far as things that our body cannot produce, the big vitamins would be vitamin C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, lutein, lycopene, and then I'm going to touch on vitamin D. Though our body does produce that, generally it's insufficient in a lot of areas. So one of the things I tell my clients when I'm talking about getting a better balance, you don't need to remember each specific little nutrient that every food has, but getting a variety will be helpful. The more colors that you have in your diet, the more vitamins and minerals. So starting with this tray of food that I prepped, I'm actually going to be cooking it for dinner tonight. This gives us a good picture of getting some variety. Now, starting at the red. Red is a big indicator of lycopene. Lycopene, most people have heard, it can help decrease your risk of getting prostate cancer. It's also really good at being anti-inflammatory. So more lycopene is great. So this is a red bell pepper that I sliced up. Anytime you're looking for lycopene, just look for that dark red color. You can do watermelons, tomatoes, anything else that catches your eye in red. As far as our orange and yellow vegetables, we have carrots, and this is a butternut squash. This will show you beta-carotene. Beta-carotene, once we consume it, is converted in our bodies to vitamin A. Now, with beta-carotene and with lycopene, there's no recommended daily allowance, which is that amount that's been established by studying it through different clinical trials to tell you what's safe for your body and at what level we tend to see a benefit. So with these, getting more is better. We would like to eat enough beta-carotene that's going to help break down some free radicals. Some of the research has shown that with beta-carotene, it can help decrease the risk of smokers developing lung cancer. But when they've done studies and they've given megadoses of beta-carotene, they actually saw the inverse to be true, that smokers were more likely to get lung cancer. So it's always smart to remember that more is not always better. Be aware of how much you should have and never do a megadose, especially when it's not under the care of a healthcare professional. Move down a little bit more. We have our Brussels sprouts. Now, Brussels sprouts are actually very high in vitamin C. They're also high in fiber, and they're a great filling food. Across the board, they're something that everyone should be adding more into their diet. And if you need more vitamin K, which is a natural blood clot forming vitamin, then you want more Brussels sprouts. The last thing here, these are actually purple potatoes. There's not a lot of naturally purple, occurring foods in our diet that stay bright purple, but this is a nice one and it adds a really pretty pop of color. It is also high in vitamin C. Vitamin C does have a recommended daily allowance. It was originally set at about 60 to 75 milligrams per day, though most health experts agree that the level should be a little bit higher. The tolerable upper limit, which is the amount you should not go above before you see any sort of bad effects, is 2,000 milligrams per day. So if you are supplementing with vitamin C, make sure that you're getting a lot of these good go-to foods. Most people know citrus fruit. You got your lemons and your oranges are very high in vitamin C. You also, surprisingly, the red bell pepper has twice the amount of vitamin C that your orange does. So try to get that and you can boost up the vitamin C intake. Another thing to remember with vitamin C as far as taking supplements, with that tolerable upper limit of 2,000 milligrams per day, with people who have kidney stones and also possibly with any kidney issues, they have seen there can be problems if you take more than 1,000 milligrams per day. So be thoughtful when you're supplementing and don't always take double or triple the dose just because you want to get a better benefit. So now let's put some of this food into action. Tonight when I prep this food, I'm actually going to be adding some oil to it so that we can cook it. It will keep it moist. It'll also add some omega-3s that are healthy antioxidant for beneficial heart health. Now a lot of people's go-to oil is extra virgin olive oil. It tends to be in most people's cabinets. It is a wonderful oil. It's an unsaturated fat. The only problem if I'm roasting these is that the smoke point of extra virgin olive oil is only 325 milligrams, 325 degrees. If I go above that, it starts breaking down the oil and then I'm losing some of the good benefits to it. If you're going for a higher roasting temperature, so to cook these vegetables, I'm actually going to put my temperature at 400 degrees. You want to use a higher smoke point like avocado oil. You can find this at any grocery store. It will go up to about 425 degrees without breaking down and give you good unsaturated fats. It also does not taste like avocados. For anyone who's not a big fan, it really just tastes very similar to olive oil. It's a great cooking food. To make this, give this even more of a boost and make it healthy, you want to add lots of herbs and spices. Herbs are actually very high in polyphenols, which are naturally occurring chemicals in plants that help protect them from oxidative damage. It's the reason plants can be out in the sun all day, prevents plants from being infested by bugs. So getting these herbs and spices and putting them into our foods will boost up the antioxidants in our body too. During medieval times, they actually used herbs and spices to preserve their food because they didn't have refrigeration. So once this is prepped and mixed up, put in the oven for about 35 to 45 minutes. It depends how long or how tender you would like your food to be. If you want it a little crispier, then I have a rather small pan for this. I would get a bigger pan and spread them out a little bit more. The more air that's circulating between the vegetables, the more crisp it can get. So let's make a little immune boosting shot. This will boost a ton of vitamin C into your diet and help you get the benefits that you're looking for from doing high antioxidants. So I'm going to use a little mini Cuisinart because I like this to be nice and smooth. This is definitely not something for anyone who's faint at heart or has any problems with acid reflux because there's going to be a lot of citrus in it. So this recipe was made by Lily Coonan, who is a certified nutrition health coach and actually wrote a book called Good Clean Food. And it is a really nice, fresh way of boosting antioxidants and something that you can easily do at home as long as you have the right supplies. And there's always little twists around this that you can kind of still get the same benefit. So good dose of lemon juice, you're gonna get tons of vitamin C. You're gonna pour this in. And this is the juice of 1 lemon. Then we want to add a little ginger and turmeric. These are both root vegetables. Turmeric is actually widely used in Indian cuisine. It's related to the curry, which is curcumin. It's a highly anti-inflammatory vitamin. Have anti-inflammatory vitamins in this food. You'll notice there's a little bit more of an orange color to it versus the ginger, which is going to be a little bit more of a yellow-white. What I did is, take this. You're just going to take either a peeler, or it's often easier. Anyone who's watched Food Network, they always tell you, grab a spoon and you can kind of peel the rough outer edges across. And then I just took a food grater, grated it up, and then you get these beautiful orange and yellow. So all you need is about half a teaspoon. I'll probably do a little bit more generous amount than that. Throw this in with the lemon juice. And then we need a little bit of oregano oil, or oil of oregano. Now this isn't anything magical, this just means infused oil. There's a lot of companies that will do oil infusions. I have a couple different ones that I keep in my house, so it makes a quick way of adding some of these things into your food. The reason for the oil is often if you have fat-soluble vitamins that are going to be in your food, you need fat in order to absorb them. Now, if you want to make your own infused oils and have your oil of oregano, and you could use any other herb or spice, you want to take a fresh herb. It's my oregano, an organic one from the grocery store. You'll clean it, and then you're going to take it and add it into a nice clean jar. So I took my oregano. Then you want to pour some oil onto it. Now this would be a great time for that extra virgin olive oil because we're not going to be using it in a hot form. I will often use this for a little bit of sauteing at a lower temperature, or I can make a salad dressing out of it. So once I've covered my herbs with the oil, what you want to do is take a pot that's got hot water in it. We're going to set it inside, and you'll allow it to sit in the water for 5 to 10 minutes so that you can really warm up that oil, so the natural oils that are in the oregano will infuse into the oil, to the olive oil. Only 5 or 10 minutes, that's all it takes. Once it's done, you're going to put a lid on it, sit it in a sunny spot, and let it sit for about a week or 2 because you can fully get all those good oils and infuse the oil with that delicious flavor. Easy thing to use in the future. For now, I've added the infused oil into our recipe. The next thing that we need is a pinch of black pepper. Now I know, it sounds a little weird, black pepper and something I'm going to drink, but the trick is with turmeric, in order to get the full benefit for it to be released, it really needs black pepper to be more activated, which is why a lot of curries that are healthy have a ton of spices and pepper in it to bring out that good natural benefit. And one of the best things you can add, garlic. Garlic is great for, it's antibacterial, antimicrobial, and there's even recommendations that people should be eating 1 to 3 cloves per day to get the benefit. So I'm going to use my little mincer here, press it down because I definitely don't want any big pieces of garlic that my mini prep did not clean off. And I will scoop this into my mini food processor. And like I said, if you don't think you can tolerate this garlic, you don't have to add it. That is something that's completely optional. It just gives a little bit more of a benefit to health. The last thing that you could add in is a little bit of cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is known to be great for decongestant and helping with coughs. So we do a little pinch in there, then I cover this up, and I blend. Now, you could also just stick this in a glass and mix it together if you don't have like a little mini prep or a little mini blender. But once it's blended really nice, you treat it like a shot. You don't want to sip and savor it, you just want to drink it down. It's pretty good. That way I got a big boost of antioxidants in a little quick drink. But for anyone who said, that's maybe a little bit too much for me, I want something a little smoother, easier to tolerate, how about we have a smoothie? Now, even if you can't do a ton of shopping right now, if you're limited on what you're able to do as far as going to the grocery store, most of us can have a lot of these things that are already in our house. A good healthy smoothie, so the first thing we want to touch on is your base. Now, I often will use like almond milk or coconut milk that is unsweetened. All that's sweetened in is just plain old sugar. To get the actual benefit of this, you don't need the sugar. So look for unsweetened. What we are getting in this, you're not going to get the protein that you would get in cow's milk or in soy milk, but this one is fortified with vitamin D. And I did bring up the fact that though vitamin D is something our body naturally will produce with conversion of sunlight, most people may notice that when you go for your annual checkups now, they're always checking vitamin D level. Say a majority of the patients that I see who have vitamin D checked, it's deficient. And the reason it's important is that not only does vitamin D help you absorb calcium to keep your bones strong, it also helps modulate how the response of your immune system. So if you have a low vitamin D level, you're also not going to be as able to fight off any sort of infections. So it's really important for keeping healthy is to get more vitamin D in our diet. You know, vitamin D will be in fortified foods like milk products. They can add it into orange juice. You'll also find it in foods that get exposure to sunlight. Oddly enough, mushrooms can be high in vitamin D if they've been exposed to UV light. You'll also find it in fish. Wild-caught salmon can have 498 milligrams of vitamin D in it. Or sorry, international units. Our goal for vitamin D per day is 600 to 800 international units. Though a lot of experts agree, because people tend to be deficient, that maybe that goal should be closer to 1,000 to 4,000 international units. Above that, you should really trust your doctor to give you a dose. So we're going to do 1.5 cups of this vitamin D fortified milk. So we'll pour it in here. And that should just about do it right there. Then, what makes most shakes great is to have a nice, smooth, creamy texture. And your two go-to foods for that are going to be either a banana or an avocado. So I have a banana that I had frozen. I took it out earlier, and I was going to give you this great tip that I learned, that freeze the banana in its peel, throw it in the freezer, peel it, and it's ready to go. And I did a little practice trial of it. And the peel did not want to shred off. It was a mess. So I would say if you're going to use bananas, peel them, chop them in half, flash freeze them. What flash freezing is you're going to take your cut up fruit. You want to take a tray like the one I had my vegetables on and spread it apart. Cut up any fruit, any vegetable that you want to freeze to be able to use for a smoothie, so that you can have it spread apart, and then you put it in the freezer uncovered. You can put a little plastic over it for about 1 hour to 2 hours. That way you can get nice chunks and you can pull out the amount that you need. If you're lazy about it and you just throw it into a baggie, this is where you can end up with big chunks that are not quite as easy to work with. So you can do the same thing with having bananas that are ready to use. So we have 1.5 cups of our vitamin D fortified unsweetened coconut milk, 1 banana. We're going to add in 2 cups of frozen mango. And the benefit of using frozen fruit versus fresh, it makes it nice and cold, and you don't have to add any ice in it and dilute it. Because once you add in ice and it melts into water, you lose some of that great flavor that was in there. Now, chia seeds. The things chia seeds have in it, like many nuts, is you're going to get a good amount of omega-3s and fiber. So it's a good add-in to our shakes so that we're getting something that's going to help keep us full and hold us over until our next meal. So we want to do 2 tablespoons. Now chia seeds are great because you can use them straight out of the bag like this. If you like them a little softer, they actually will absorb a ton of water and become nice and creamy, almost like a pudding texture. You can soak them in any milk overnight or water overnight to use them. If you like using flaxseed instead, make sure you either use ground flaxseed or you take the whole flax seeds and soak them, because flax seeds, we can't break them down. So you're pretty much going to move them through your body without getting any of the natural benefit to it. And anything else we need in here? It's pretty much ready to go. Notice I didn't add any sugar. We have a banana and we have mangoes, so you don't really need extra sweetness in this shake. So you notice you get a nice yellow color to it. It looks really pretty. You have your chia seeds that are going to give you that extra fiber. If you felt like you wanted to make this with a little higher in protein because you are using a nut milk that doesn't have a lot of protein, you could always use a plant-based protein powder. I like using Amazing Grass products. I'm not going to add this protein powder in today because it actually is mixed with kale, and I'll lose my pretty yellow color because the kale is going to make this powder a little bit more green. So it's a nice way of getting a quick breakfast or a snack or something you can use as a meal replacement if you add that protein in that's going to keep you healthier. So make a quick smoothie that you can use any time of day. So we'll pour this and we're ready for a nice treat. So though you might be trapped at home, though you may not want to be a master chef, there's always things that you can do to help boost your health that can give you more antioxidants, more fiber, more of those natural compounds that will help fight any sort of illness and keep you healthier. Because in the end, I think the goal for any of us is to have a healthier, happier life and to feel good. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation today, and I would like to wish you all good health, and cheers.